The first knowledge regarding Chinese medicine was introduced in Europe by Jewish priests. This Catholic order was among the first to try to propagate the religion in China. The Jesuits had special obedience to the Pope in spite of, or maybe due to, the Pope's distrust of their way of working. One of the first Jesuits to go to evangelize to the Chinese population was a very cultured priest named Matteo Ricci. Along from having studied law, he was a remarkable mathematician and astronomer. As a proper Jesuit, Ricci had conceived his own strategy to spread Catholicism. As China had a huge population, his intention was to address the elites in society. His thinking was that if he could convert them, their influence would mean that the peasants would naturally turn to Catholicism as well. Following his plan, when he arrived, he did not disclose to anyone that his goal was to evangelize. He began simply getting acquainted with the Chinese and their territory, learning their language and embracing their customs. Only after mastering such knowledge did he begin to interact with Chinese scholars. He taught them mathematics and encouraged a cultural exchange. Ricci was the first to map China, including foreign lands. Thus, in his late years, he had become a highly respected person, very close to the Chinese court. Going back to acupuncture, by means of such receptive, permeable, porous, and respectful way of approaching the Chinese, the Jesuits came across the healing technique consisting of the pricking, puncture, coming from the Latin term punctura, of a needle, acus. So they named it acupuncture. Yes, the act of pricking an acupuncture needle is called puncture, because while pricking is an indiscriminate action, puncturing needs a previous diagnosis, a very precise mark to attain, and specific ways of manipulating the acupuncture needle as well. But upon what theoretical basis stands the idea that the stimulation of certain areas of the body is able to restore health? We have already seen that Chinese medicine's target is the energetic vitality of life named Qi. The ideogram representing Qi depicts a grain of rice and, on top, another character that suggests an exhalation of the steam derived from its heat. Qi, therefore, is something very tiny indeed, and its most important feature is the dynamism it conveys. Ultimately, Qi would be nothing but the emanation of the principle of life continuously impelling creation and recreation. Remember, we've been arguing that Chinese medicine belongs to a traditional culture. Consistently, there are terms comparable to Qi, as it is pneuma in classical Greece or prana in Hinduism. As in the first chapter of the Bible, the Genesis, which called it Ruach. Let's listen to the Genesis narrative. God created the man from the clay of the earth and blew in his face the Ruach, that is, the breath of life, and he made man a living soul. Therefore, the term Qi as a driver and invigorator of life is common to other traditional cultures that named it with other terms. Due to its metaphysical involvement, Qi covers something broader than energy. So, we should think about Qi as the breath of life. Now, going back to how acupuncture works, we already know that Qi circulates animatedly throughout the organism And we have also seen that the meridians are the means to transmit the laws of life to mankind. The acupuncture meridians are supposedly located in specific areas of the body. Although the qi circulates everywhere, it does so in an orderly fashion. But within acupuncture there are several different approaches. The most widespread explanation about the energetic channels contemplates them as mere streams, where the qi circulates preferentially in a rather materialistic vision of them. But when contemplating the meridians I am proposing you to do as the laws of heaven, their meaning widens. Such lines on the skin surface would represent all living phenomena resonating within the individual. Such dynamics would be common to those working on the macrocosm. Seen in this light, just as we obeyed the law of gravity, all our functioning from physical to metaphysical would follow the same laws that guide the whole world. Along such privileged places of resonance, we find the so-called points of acupuncture, or acupoints. They could be named nodes or even better gaps of acupuncture. Every acupoint location responds to a specific function, and the ensemble of them express the totality of activities required for the development and maintenance of life in the human being. Don't you find it amazing that the number of acupoints is about 365? I have counted 362 in my studies, but the truth is that there is controversy about the exact amount. As Westerners, we crave the concrete, but the idea is that 365 acupoints evokes a connection with the 365 days of a year. So in short, 365 acupoints express all the paths required to accomplish a whole living cycle.